Hello, today I will be showing you how to create this little character in Magicavoxel. I will try to make it quick and easy for you to have a general idea of the basics of the software, how to use it and how to render something, make it look nice. So let's jump right into it. When you open Magicavoxel, you will find this and how to move your camera first with your mouse. If you click right mouse button and hold, you can turn around your object. If you click and hold your middle mouse button, you can pan, and also by using the mouse wheel you can make a zoom in or out. Good. So let's talk about a bit very quickly about the buttons we have around the program. We're gonna focus today on the palette with the colors and the working area right here. So if you see here, you have all of these colors to choose from, but you can also create your own colors. You can modify these or just create a new palette altogether. So if you go here where it says color and you click that, you can modify whatever color you have selected. You just click it and you modify it. So right now this blue color is very hard to find here for certain, so you can just Alt and left mouse button click, and that will take you straight to the color that is applied to the object that you just clicked. So if I select another color, I do that again, Alt left mouse button, and it goes straight there. And now if you see, if I modify this color, it will be changing the object that is applied to. So how to change the color of the object and how to modify it, you basically first click it and you press tab. Now we are inside of this container of voxels and we will be able to modify them. So we have a bunch of tools here that became available when we pressed tab, and we can for instance delete, we can paint with another color, we can do all sorts of things. But let's start from scratch. Let's press Ctrl A to select everything and delete to remove it from the container. You see now this container is empty. If you accidentally delete it, you can press Ctrl N and you will get a new one which is empty. Great. So let's press tab to go into the container and start creating our voxels. I'm gonna zoom in with the mouse. And instead of working with this palette, I will be working with my own palette because I don't need all of these colors to confuse me. I will just go to number 3 here, and the difference is like 0 is all these predetermined colors, 1 is another set of colors, number 2 is a grayscale palette, number 3 is all gray, nothing in there, starting from scratch, which is what we want. So let's start by creating some boxes here, some voxels. So if I click on the box mode option, you can see the names down here when I hover over box mode, and I will click attach, and right now I can just left mouse button and I will start creating these boxes, right, these little voxels here. So let's Ctrl Z that, and let's start by doing the legs. So let's go 1, leave 1 space in the middle and 1 there, and then go 1 2 up, 1 2. Those are our legs. Let's do some feet. Just create 1 there. You see, depending on where I place my mouse, I have the options to create voxels in the front facing, top or side facing of the voxel, right? So then we have our legs there. So let's create 1 more on each and connect them. This is where the belly of the character will start. So I will go 1 2 3, and I will turn around with right mouse button, and 1 2 3. Good. This will be the bum and the belly of our character. Good. So now let's try out a different modeling option. In this case, the face mode. So if we click here, we're gonna have entire face being extruded up. So if I click now, you see all the it just creates another layer on top of all the voxels that we have before. So let's go 1 2 3, and we have the body of our character. Let's go back to our box mode and let's create a neck, yeah, and now let's create some arms. Let's go from here 1 2 3 4, and on the other side 1 2 3 4. Great. So just to show you other tools here, I will do the head differently. First thing, I will go to orthographic mode. If you see here, we are in perspective mode right now, so we're going to click in orthographic. Great. So right now the difference is that we don't have perspective anymore, so it becomes a bit easier to select voxels from a front or from the side view, right? So the next thing I'm going to click is this button here that is called Show Camera Ruler, and basically what this does is, instead of having us free rotating the camera, we can use these little steps, so we can go 5 degrees of rotation at a time. So let's go 0 and 0. Basically whatever rotation that shows your model from a front view, because maybe depending on how you started, maybe your front view is 90 0 or negative 90 0, but in my case it's 0 0, right? So now that we are in 0 0, I will use the Marquee Select tool here and the Rect Select option, and that way I can just drag a selection with my left mouse button, and I selected these 3 voxels. But if I move my camera, you will notice that I also selected the voxels on the back. So let's go back to 0 0, and with that selected I will press Ctrl C, Ctrl V. This will duplicate these voxels, so it seems that nothing happened right now. But if I press Ctrl and I click and drag with the left mouse button, you see that I can move up these voxels and place them right on top of the neck. So if I selected these voxels and I didn't Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and I do that, Ctrl left mouse button, I'm just moving them. Same if I selected here, I'm just moving them out. So Ctrl C, Ctrl V will duplicate that, and then I can move them up. Perfect. So to move them up, again, is Ctrl and left mouse button. So let me just show you something. If you do that, selecting this face, you will move up and down, right? If you instead click it in this face, you will move forwards and backwards. So depending on where you click, it will move one way or the other, right? So cool. We have our head completed. We could have done this with the box mode or the face mode, but I just wanted to show you that tool. So right now we have a very basic model. We could stop here. This will depend on how minimalistic you want your model to be. So let's paint this one, and then if we want, we can add more detail. So let's start by doing that. I suggest you, instead of trying to eyeball the colors, maybe you can pick them. So let's find an image of the character we're working with, and I'm opening here on the side, so I will drag this image now so we can steal the colors. So this is the image we're going to be working with. So what I will do is have this window here, and I will make this not maximized so I can see both things at the same time. What I will do now, as you see, we're working with this color right here because it's selected and we started creating the voxels after clicking in here. So if I change the color of this, you see it changes. Great. So what we can do is press Alt and left click, and then we drag, and this is basically a color picker now. So without releasing our mouse, we're going to go all the way to the image and we're going to release it right on top of the color we want to pick. Boom. Now we have this yellow color for us. So in another Vox, I will just choose the other colors so I have them all. Let's get the beard. Alt, left click and drag, and let's get the t-shirt, which is white, but just to make it quicker, let's get the blue. And if you want to also get shadows for extra detail, you can just get that darker blue there. Maybe we get the darker white too, just in case we need it. And let's get the shoes, and let's get the colors of the donut, just in case we want to make a little donut. Oops. Do it here, and let's get this bread color. And I think we have all the colors we need for now. So our character right now is naked, so let's give them some clothing. So instead of adding, I will start painting now. So instead of going with attach mode, which will let me to create more voxes, I will change to paint mode. Now in paint mode, if I click the voxes, it will change to the color that I have selected. So just by clicking there, I'm starting to paint the trousers. So you see, I paint like this, and it just paints wherever I'm selecting wherever I'm clicking, it will change the color of that voxel. But what if we wanted to change several voxels at the same time? So then you use your face mode, for instance. You can just click that leg, and whatever it is on that facing direction, it will be painted, right? So if I, for instance, click here, it will paint all this row of boxes. You can see it here on the face. If I click here, you can also click and drag, and that will continue painting on the direction you clicked, right? So I'm clicking and dragging to the left, or clicking and dragging down. That it will depend, and it will just continue painting. So you can use that, for instance, to paint like this and go all the way back. Great. So let's do that for a t-shirt now. Let's click here. I'm clicking, holding, and dragging to the left, and you see I painted all the way back. And that's great, because if I did this, for instance, and then I started deleting these voxels with the erase mode, you will see that underneath is yellow. So we want everything to be white. So let's do it with the face mode. Click and, in paint mode. Click and drag to the left. There you go. Next, we're gonna just paint some sleeves for a character. So just use the box mode, painting in white. I have my white selected here. Great. Now the shoes is this green color. We can also click and drag with the box mode, and it will just paint along the line we are dragging along. So it will just click and drag and paint all of that. And then we can maybe paint some beard for this character. You see how minimalistic this character is. We could maybe create a dark color by hand for the eyes right now. Let's make like a dark color here, and let's paint the eyes. So this is clearly Homer right now. I guess you can show this to anyone and they will notice. So you can stop here, or maybe you want to add more details. So how we do that? The first thing I would suggest is you save using this little floppy disk icon. You click it and then save it wherever you want. Let's create one on the desktop right now called Homer tutorial. Great. So let's call your file whatever you want, version 1. And then we have this save version. We can modify it and do whatever we want, and we know we have this version and it's safe. So what I will do is click on the Marquee select option, select everything, and press the ×2, this button here. Remember that these options are only available when you select and you press tab, then these show up, because this is our working area, right? Great. So let's click that, and now you see everything became larger. The problem is that right now Homer is like penetrating the ground, so you can just push it up or press G outside of the working area. Or otherwise, before doing that, I just did some Ctrl+C there to do it again. You select the voxels you want to make bigger, and you press ×2. This way, like if you had something else here and you press ×2, and maybe you didn't want that to become larger, so you just select the voxels you want to scale, then press ×2, and there you go. So I will delete this. Great. So now that we did this, if I select my character, you will notice that right now we have so many more voxels, because the scale option here basically creates twice as many voxels. So we have now more resolution, let's say, to work with. So what I will do is Ctrl+D to deselect and go to my erase, and I will add details by removing voxels. Sounds a bit confusing, but let's go. The head right now is very cubic. So let's remove the edges, just clicking with the box tool, with the erase option, just clicking those edges, and that will make the head look a bit more rounded. In my opinion, it looks very good to have very simplistic, minimalistic characters, because this is like pixel art. Of course, you can go extremely detailed, that depends on your taste, so feel free to create your character however you want. But let's, in this case, to keep it simple, let's make it rather minimalistic. Great. So I will continue to remove these edges, and right now we have a bit more detail on this character. For the shoulders, I like to remove just the corner, and that gives a bit more shape to the shoulder, and then the arm. Let's remove this one too, and maybe we can remove the front two voxels of the shoes. Great. So now we have some more detail on this character. We can also go to the yellow color, attach one voxel, and just create some thumbs. There you go. Now we have thumbs on our character. We could also work a bit on our proportions now that we have more resolution. So for instance, this is all optional, right? You could stop on the first one and then jump to the render part, which is more on the end of the video. You can jump to this timeline if you want to just go to the render part. But let's keep going a bit more, so we learn a bit more about Magicavoxel first. Let's go to 0, 0, or whatever the numbers are that will show your character on a front-facing camera. And with my Marquee option, I will just select all the head and just one row of voxels of the neck. And I will control left click and drag down just a bit to remove one voxel from the neck. I think that has a better proportion, so our character look a bit more funny, in my opinion, like this. So great. Maybe we can give it some more leg. Maybe the legs are too short. So to do that, we're gonna select everything and some voxels of the leg. We're gonna push up by control left clicking and dragging up just a little. And now we can complete this whole with the face option. Select the blue color, attach, and just click here, 1, 2. Great, now the legs are a bit longer. So that way you can just play a bit with the proportions of the character. For instance, I would like the back to be a bit thinner. Maybe I will select all of these voxels, control left click and drag to the right. And for the belly, maybe we can just draw it a bit more here in the middle. So let's go to the erase box and remove 1, 2, and remove this row. Maybe we can go one more lower, 1, 2, and remove the top row. And we just have a more drawn out belly right there. So great, that looks pretty cool. We could add more detail. For instance, we could maybe add the hair. So let's do that. Let's click 1, oops, with the attach mode, 1 on top, 1 on the left, 1 more, and then we can go down and 1 here. Tick. You can erase the corners to make it a bit more rounded, and that looks great. So let's check another tool so we can duplicate this. So we have this other region select tool, and you have two options: connected color or same palette color. So if you click on that one, it will select everything that has that color. So if we, for instance, selected the eyes, you see we'll select both eyes because they share the same color right now, which is this black color. So that way is a very easy way to select all of these voxels at once. And then I will Control C, Control V, and from the side I will click and drag to the right. Great, so now we have the hair of our character. We can maybe select both and control and move back. This could be maybe too large for you or whatever. We can make them smaller, but to make them smaller, then we have to go one more time, twice as big. So this is a bit more resolution. What happens if we add some more resolution? So let's select everything and Control 2 and 2 times again here. Click it, and we have this super high resolution Homer right now, which we can play with a bit more. So of course this is optional, only if you like it. So what I will do in this resolution, I will go to the yellow and paint and remove the side of the eye. Now that we have more color, we can just have the eye right in the front. Some here, yeah, and we're using the voxel tool, paint, and clicking and dragging on the side. You can go one by one too, however you want. We can also select the beard. We can either click on the color or Alt left click and we will select that color automatically, right? And now we have that, we could maybe complete the beard here. And even maybe we could get the yellow color and make it one smaller, like that. So we can have maybe a nose here, so we can attach. And now that we have more resolution, we could have a little nose there. That's great. I will get another, I will paint another row here, so we have smaller eyes. See how you feel. Maybe you like it better if you remove the sides instead of that one. That looks great. So I will remove this hair now and I will make it again, but this time with more resolution, so I can have maybe thinner strands of hair. So let's attach with this color brown selected, and let's go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's go from the bottom view and 1. Great. Maybe we could make it one longer actually, so we'll add 1 and 2 here. And now with the erase tool, I will delete that one, that was a mistake, and the corners. I'll have a bit of a more higher definition color, and again I will use the region select one, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and Ctrl left mouse button and move forward. Great. So we have that. So what about we add a donut, which is such a classic element of this character, right? So let's go to the front view. I know I'm going fast, but you can pause the video and watch again as many times as you want. I just don't want this to be too long. So let's select the Marquee Select option, and let's select half of this arm here. There you go. Now we've done that, we have the Rotate 90 degrees tool. If you click that, you can click on X, for instance. Just check which one works. Maybe you test that, Ctrl Z, no. So let's, on X, you see, if I keep clicking it, it would add more 90 degrees again of rotation. So now we have the thumb pointing outwards. Without losing that selection, we're going to Ctrl and left mouse button to push it forward, and now up. Great. So now let's complete a bit this arm so it doesn't have such a big gap here. So let's go yellow, attach, face mode, and let's go 1, 1. Maybe that's enough. If you want, you can go one more, just to have a little bend there for the elbow. And let's create our donut. We have the colors now, we picked them before. So let's create the bread color, which is the same we're using for the hair. And let's go let's use the box mode, attach. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1 here to complete it. And now with the pink color, let's use the face option, right? Attach, and let's click on top, and boom, there you have it. He has a donut now. I think from this point on, you get how this works. You can continue to add detail as much as you want. You can, for instance, get the shadow colors that we picked up and paint, for instance, like a darker color here. You can use the face option to click and drag to paint all the way back. You can also paint with the box mode like this. You can click here and drag to the left very carefully so you don't go up or anything. Just keep it to the left, and we painted the detail there. We can use the darker white color for the sleeves here, the same way. Just click with the box, paint, and drag. There you go. So I would call it done for the moment. I just don't want to overcomplicate it. I want to show you some rendering tricks so you have a finished image that you can share on your social media or with your friends or whatever you want to do with it. So let's click now where it says render. What do we find? For some reason the feet of our character is not showing. That is because the feet are under the ground right now. So let's go back to the model option. I'm gonna press tab to go out of the working area, and you see that you see these arrows here, so you can now move your model. So you see how the feet are under the ground right now. So you can either push up with this arrow here, or just press G, and that will push your model up until the last voxel touches the ground. Consider that is the bottom of this box. So if our character, for instance, was all the way up, we press G and it will still be floating. So bear that in mind. What you could do is select your character outside of the working area and click where it says here fit model size. Then it will just convert this voxel box right to the size of the model. So if now press G, it goes back down. If you wanted to add more detail afterwards, you can always go into your voxel, into your working area, and change these numbers here. These are the size of your container of voxels, right? So I can put like all the way up to 256 cubic here. So now we have a very big working area to create stuff on. But let's just keep it small for now because this is all we need to render right now. Great. With this done, we're gonna move on to the render time. So I won't explain this in super deep detail because I have a very in-depth tutorial on rendering, but I will still show you some tricks now. So the first thing I like to do is to make sure that I render in orthographic. I just like better how it looks, but this is totally on your end. Decide to do it however you want. I just don't like this horizon line, so I'm gonna change it to orthographic. The next thing is I will click where it says sky here, the third option, which is the image-based lighting. When you click that, now you are lighting your image, your scene with this image here. So you can rotate that, and in general that gives better results in my opinion. Great. The next thing I will do, just find a lighting that you like. Something in general, I advise you to find something that is not too flat like this. You see how the light here, it just hits everywhere on the same way. So I was gonna continue to rotate so I have some shadow and some light. Great. The next thing is to make this shadow a bit more soft, a bit softer. I'll add more value here where it says area. Great, now we have a softer shadow. And the next thing I will do is I want to click and drag on my materials, just a good bunch of them. I'm gonna change the material type here where it says diffuse to blend. Great. So in here, I'll choose the option that says subsurface scattering, this little S, add some transparency, maybe 50%, and full density, some roughness. You can even copy the values I'm using right now. And you see that our character starts looking a bit nicer right now. I really like how it's looking. Great. So maybe we can play a bit with the background color now. So you see how the display ground option is turned on. If I remove it, it will just show this color instead, the background color, but let's use the ground so we can have this nice shadow here. If I click where it says all up here, I'll see all the options I can tweak for my render, and one of those is the ground. Right now it's a gray color. So let's do something that works with the yellow color, maybe some blue. Something playful, some fun. Something like that, not so saturated so it's not tiring to look at. Nice, we have a nice color for our background. The next thing I will do is to add edge. In my opinion, I really like how this looks. So if you click where it says display edge, right now it's very exaggerated, but if you open the edge option here, you can go all the way down until it's super thin, and then choose a color, like for instance, middle way gray. This way you have some lines that will make your character look like the edges are a bit softer, so it's not such a sharp edge. It's just a little detail. So right now you saw that I accidentally clicked and my character went out of focus. That is because we can click wherever we want the software to focus on. To control the amount of depth of field, that is how it's called, what is in focus and what is not, you can click here on this camera. So once you click there, the options changes, so you have the aperture here. So the more aperture, the heavier the defocus will be. So we can focus on the donut, we can focus on the feet. If you just click it, it will change the number here, and that will be the focus distance, let's say. So let's just keep it on the face because it's the most important part of our character, and let's not go too exaggerated. It's just a little detail. So it's a bit of the focus here on the feet. Great. So we are pretty much done with our render. You can change these things however you want, and maybe change the colors if you want this to be a bit darker, if you want the jeans to be less saturated. That depends on you. So how do we actually render this image so it's finished and we can export it or post it on Instagram or whatever? The first thing you will do is to change the samples. You see, every time I change something, this blue bar starts working. The more samples you have, the slower your image will take, the heavier it will be for your computer to calculate your image, the bigger this number. But at the same time, the greater the quality. So you see it has a lot of noise right now. So if I go 5,000, you see it will start working and it will like slowly clean up your image. So the bigger the number, the better the quality, but also the render will become slower. If you have some time, maybe go 5,000 or something like that. It will take a minute to finish, but it's perfectly fine, right? You have other things to do. So the next thing I will do to save this image is to click where it says show image settings, right? This last option here. And in here you can select the resolution of your image. Let's say you want to make a background out of this. You can go 1920 by 1080, which is like a normal HD background. And the problem with this is that it doesn't show here, so you need to change it also up here. This is just for you to see it, right? 920, 1080, and right now we have a bigger image with a wide resolution. So choose whatever resolution you want. If you want maybe for Instagram, just choose 180 square. This is the Instagram resolution, or Google Online, whatever resolution you need, depending on what you're working for. Great, we have everything set up right now. So let's click where it says render, and that will open this pop-up for us to choose where we want this image to be saved. So let's take the desktop, for instance, and let's call it Homer tutorial. Great, number 1. And then we can choose the format. We only have PNG, but it's a great format. Just it works. You can upload this to many social media, pretty much all of them probably. So great, we have our name, we press save, and the program will start automatically working on our image. So you see the blue bar is now working. I cannot do anything on the program as this process takes place, but as soon as this finishes, we will have our image ready to be shared. So I hope you liked this tutorial. I hope this was useful for you. I hope it was not too long or too fast. Let me know in the comments how can I improve the quality of the videos, and also I'll ask you to support me by following me on Instagram. This is the link. It's the game I'm working on. It's a voxel art game, so it's full of good ideas for you to take on voxel art, and inspiration maybe can help you. So thank you very much for watching. This is the final result of the image we just created, and I hope you enjoyed. See you.